This is the EX30 Cross Country. It's the newest top-shelf adventure-focused variant in Volvo's small electric SUV lineup. It has a dual-motor electric setup, it's got all-wheel drive, it's got raised suspension, and it has more ground clearance than the regular EX30. But just how well set up is this vehicle for adventure? Well, that's what we're here to find out, so stick around. The EX30 Cross Country is the top-shelf variant in the EX30 range, and it has a manufacturer-suggested list price of $69,990. Standard features on board include this 12.3-inch multimedia touchscreen, and it has wireless Apple CarPlay. There's also wireless charging up front and a 360-degree camera, and there's a whole stack more. Exterior paint options include blue, white, black, grey and more. For even more details though, make sure you read my full written review at carsguide.com.au. The Cross Country has a lot of presence. It looks like an EX30 but on steroids. There's plenty of black everywhere, around the wheel arches, along the side, and those will protect it against stone chips, those sorts of things when you're on a gravel road. That bumper is very striking. That black section is on told by Volvo the impression of a topographical map of Sweden's highest mountain range, and it also has the coordinates there. So if you're ever heading over there, you can refer to those. Elsewhere, two-tone roof, that's all glass. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'll talk about that later. Overall, it's pretty striking, pretty good looking, and yeah, not too bad. In terms of practicality, the Cross Country's cabin is very practical. It's a functional space. There are plenty of hard plastic surfaces. I believe they're recycled plastic. There's a sort of denim-y material trim on the seats, and it's all designed for a bit of hard day-to-day wear and tear. The seats are very comfortable, power adjustable up front. The rear seat, there's not so much room. This is a compact SUV after all, but again, it is a usable space. One aspect of the Cross Country's cabin that I'm not so keen on though is the panoramic sunroof. There's no sliding cover back and forth, so you're always open to the sun, and in summer that can be quite punishing. This is a compact SUV, so there's no denying that it is small, but it has a surprising amount of space in the rear cargo area. That's about 318 litres as listed. I've got max tracks there and a first aid kit, those sorts of things. You fold that second row of seats down and it opens up to 1,000 litres, so that's a pretty functional, usable space. There are cargo hooks in the rear cargo area, a light and a 12-volt socket. You do have a little bit of underfloor cargo space there, but that's taken up at the moment by the charging cord and the tyre repair kit. Tyre repair kit, now there's an important point. This vehicle does not have a spare tyre, so if you do want a spare tyre, you may have to opt for the storage platform on the roof, and you could put a spare tyre up there. Also, talking about space, there is a frunk at the front of the car. I prefer to call it a front boot, but you describe it as you wish. There's about 7 litres of space up there, so you could maybe put the charge cord up there if you wanted to shift it up there, and a few other little bits and pieces. But overall, it's a pretty usable space. The EX30 Cross Country has a twin-motor electric powertrain, and that produces a combined 315 kilowatts and 543 newton meters. It has a single-speed transmission and a 69 kilowatt-hour battery. Drive modes include standard, performance and range, but it does not have any off-road driving modes like sand, mud, snow, those sorts of things, but it does have hill descent control. This compact all-electric SUV has a ton of power and torque from the get-go, and it really is nice to drive on-road and off. I'll get into the finer details soon, but just overall, it's a pretty impressive drive on almost all surfaces, and it really is fast. This thing can do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.7 seconds. Now, I'm pretty sure it's the fastest vehicle I've ever been in, and it is smooth, it's refined. It really is an all-round nice car to drive on road and off. But when you do get off road, it handles minor corrugations pretty well. It also deals with deeper, more severe potholes pretty well. In fact, surprisingly so. I've been pleasantly surprised that it stays settled and it stays composed while you're going through some pretty lumpy and bumpy stuff. The Cross Country is not an off-roader as such. It can handle things when the road surface gets a little bit trickier, when it's a little bit more of a traction compromised situation than you normally may face. But with its limited ground clearance, it does have more than the regular EX30. Let's get this straight. It's about 19 millimeters more, so about 190 mils off the ground as it is, but it's not a rock crawling beast. It doesn't have any off-road driving modes. It does have hill descent control, but that's really for mild inclines, mild downhills where it has to hold a bit more of a safer speed than it may otherwise achieve. So in terms of dimensions, it's not that well set up for off-roading. You don't want to take this anywhere near four-wheel drive only terrain. But having said that, it is more than capable of handling light to moderate off-road conditions, what I'm on right now, so mild corrugations, deeper potholes here and there, loose gravel, loose stones, those sorts of things it can cope with quite well. In fact, there's no reason why you can't get to your favourite campsite in a national park in this vehicle on well-maintained tracks in dry conditions. And even if it gets a little bit slipperier, even if there is a little bit of rain here and there, this is an all-wheel drive setup, so it is engineered to cope with those sorts of conditions. The Cross Country's suspension is a raised setup compared to the regular EX30, and it is mostly well settled, well composed, and ride and handling is really nicely controlled. It is a little bit on the firm side of things, and it does become a little bit jittery, but not too much, when the road becomes a little bit more corrugated and a little bit less well maintained. But overall, the Cross Country does really well on dirt tracks, gravel roads, through mild corrugations, through deeper potholes, that was one, and it is a nice, refined driving experience. It really punches well above its weight in terms of power and torque, and throttle response is great. It even errs on the side of a little bit aggressive, but steering is precise, and you can dial through driving characteristics on this main screen. Anyway, if you need to change things, if you need to cycle through the modes, the drive modes, standard, range, and performance. Performance is a key mode when you hit the dirt, because that engages all-wheel drive fully. It optimizes that all-wheel drive system and gives you that sure-footedness on looser surfaces. Range is more inclined to help you keep your energy consumption down while driving, and standard is not too bad just for general day-to-day driving conditions. As I mentioned earlier, the Cross Country does not have off-road driving modes like sand, mud or snow, and that's fine because this vehicle is not set up, it's not designed, not engineered to be a rock crawling off-roading beast, and it does pretty well with what it has, and it does have hill descent control, and that works perfectly fine, as I also mentioned earlier. If you are thinking of using your Cross Country as a touring vehicle, it's handy to know that its towing capacity is 1,600 kilograms. And it's also handy to know that the tyres that it comes with on those 19-inch rims, while they are tagged as all-season tyres, they aren't really that well suited to off-road driving. So you always have the option of swapping some all-terrains on an 18-inch rim, and it will instantly make this cross-country even better for mild to moderate off-roading duties. Official energy consumption for this vehicle is listed as 19.1 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. On this test, I've recorded 18.4 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. This vehicle has a 69 kilowatt hour battery on board, and if you are using a 175 kilowatt DC fast charger, you should be able to charge it fully in about 30 minutes. I used a household socket to charge my vehicle overnight, and it took about 18 hours to get it from 20%, around about 20% to 80%. The EX30 Cross Country has the maximum 5-star ANCAP safety rating, and that's from testing in 2024. As standard, it has 7 airbags and a comprehensive suite of driver assist technology, including adaptive cruise control, AEB, a driver alert system, which is fortunately easy to switch off, lane keep assistance, which is also fortunately easy to switch off, and a whole stack more. For even more details, make sure you read my full written review at carsguide.com.au. This vehicle is covered by a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and its onboard battery is covered by an 8-year 160,000 kilometre warranty. A 5-year roadside assistance plan applies to this vehicle, and a 5-year servicing plan over 150,000 kilometres also applies, and that comes at no cost. Servicing intervals are set at every 24 months or 30,000 kilometres, whichever occurs soonest. Volvo Australia has more than 40 dealerships across the country, as well as numerous Volvo approved workshops at which you can have your Volvo serviced. There's a lot to like about the Volvo EX30 Cross Country. It's nice to drive, it's comfortable, and it offers the driver that extra confidence with the all-wheel drive system on board. It also looks good. It has a stack of decent features on board, and it offers plenty in terms of ownership benefits, especially servicing costs. However, it is small and it has a limited scope of off-road capability, but that's fine if you're going to use it for what it's intended for, light to moderate off-roading at worst. But what do you reckon? Have your say in the comments section below, and make sure, as always, you read my full written review at carsguide.com.au.